Avadim Hayinu leparo b'Mitzrayim, v'yotzianu Hashem Elokeinu misham b'yad chazakah, uvizro Tuvia. We were servants to Paro in Mitzrayim. Hashem took us out with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. V'ilu lo tziyah Kadosh Baruch Hu et awatinu b'Mitzrayim. If Hashem didn't take us out of Mitzrayim, Harei anu uvanenu vanenu mishubadim hayinu leparo b'Mitzrayim. Us, our children, and our children's children will be subjugated to Paro Mitzrayim. Even if we're all chachamim and all nevonim, kulani yodim with the Torah, and we know the Torah, it's a mitzvah to talk about the Sefer of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And whoever increases talking about the Sefer of Yetzias Mitzrayim, harezeh meshubach. Okay, it's in the Haggadah. And now we're going to learn what all that means. All pnimius and yanim, pages of things. Okay.
I have one explanation.
Tell us.
You asked if we wouldn't, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't save us from Mitzrayim, it would be until today in Mitzrayim.
Emet.
Why?
We're going to explain.
No, because it's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu because He wanted to save us only. It's because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't save us, we would have accustomed ourselves to stay in that matter, and we wouldn't be able.
Right.
We wouldn't be willing to go out. And the proof.
We wouldn't be able to.
And we wouldn't be able because we are too much accustomed to it. And the reason why, and the proof to this is when Am Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim, a little thing wanted.
Run back.
Let's go back. So they were still attached.
You could take a Jew out of Galus, but to take the Galus out of a Jew is really hard.
So
okay?
That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's really hard, you know.
This is why
people
HaKadosh Baruch
love
Hu
Galus.
made all the Nissim. So that you remember that you wanted to go out to
we're going to explain. Yeah.
And not because HaKadosh Baruch Hu only, because we have the connection to stay in Israel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We're going to explain now all pnimius and yanim. So, Avadim Hayinu leparo b'Mitzrayim. Hashem took us out with a strong hand, outstretched arm. So in the pre-Etz Chaim, it says that the shorish of the Inyan of Yetzias Mitzrayim al pi Kabbalah. What is it? It's that Zer Anpin was in a state of Ibur in the Ima. Okay, it means the mother's pregnant. That's what it means in the Pshat words. Okay, Zer Anpin is like the child pregnant in the mother. Okay, now that's why it's called Mitzrayim is Metzar Yam, because there's water and the baby's in the water and it's contracted, so he's in the Metzar Yam. So being in Mitzrayim is being impregnated in Ima. Okay, Yam represents the Nakuda of Yud, of Chochmah, Keshehu Be'elam Bebina, when it's concealed in Bina, it's called Mem Stima, it's a closed off Mem. And Paro, this is the words Etz Chaim, okay? If you don't understand it, don't worry, we have the whole mimer explaining what it is, so just have that in mind when we're saying this, okay? Paro is Yonek from the Oref of Arich Anpin. Paro takes the energy from the back neck of Arich Anpin. Monea miliot b'chinet leida, and he stops the birth from happening. And this is what it means. Avadim Hayinu, we were servants. Anu b'nei Yisrael d'le'ela, us the b'nei Yisrael above, which represents Zer Anpim. Avadim Hayinu leparo, which is the oref of Arich Anpim, to be in the Mitzrayim. We were stuck in a state of pregnancy, and then Hashem took us out. Hashem Elokeinu took us out, which is Arich Anpin. Okay, with Ayar Chazakah, through the Beit Zroot of Arich Anpin. Look over there at length. The Pri Etz Chaim discusses it. Now that's the words of Pri Etz Chaim. What happened in this situation? Now we're going to explain it. To understand all this, we have to first understand what is Shem Havaya. Dalet Otiyot, Yud, K, and then Vav, and then K. And then you have the Kotz of the Yud, which represents the Keter, as is known. Then we know that Yud is Chochmah, and the Kotz that's on the Yud is Keter. And what is the Keter? That's the Kotz of the Yud. It represents the Ratzon Ha'elyon that's beyond Seichel and Tam. It's the Hashem's will and that's beyond understanding. As it says, V'chochma ma'ayin timatzeh, Who gam ken nikra arik anpin kayaduas. The chokhmah is called from where it says where do you find chokhmah? So chokhmah is also a bechina of ayin, that you can't find it. So therefore chokhmah also has the bechina of arik anpin as well. This level of arik anpin has a pnimius and a chitzonius, which is called panim and orif, the face and the back of the neck, as is known. Okay, the Indian is ki yesh b'chinat ratzon beit madrigot. In your person's will, there's two levels of your will. There's the pnimius of your will and the chitzonius of the will. The pnimius of a person's will is called, alpi Torah, is called chefetz. Meaning, when someone has a chefetz, a desire, the chofetz chayim, right? Chofetz is, it means to desire, and this desire is a pnimius desire. So the inner part of the desire is called chefetz. And the chitzonius of the ratzon is just called ratzon. Because chefetz is a pnimit achuka from the inner parts of your soul, because it says in the pasuk, ki chafetz bebat Yaakov, he desired the daughter of Yaakov. Yeah. Okay. Ki to you eretz chafetz chafzi ba. All these different psukim. But when you look at the chitzonius of the ratzon, that doesn't come from the person's pnimius and essence of your soul at all, but rather just the acharayim and the chitzonius alone, as it says be'ezer ratzon. Like when a person says, "I want to be involved in this business," for example, to make money, he really wants to make the money. And he's doing the business because that's how you're going to make the money. So therefore, he has a desire to do the business, but his desire is not a chefetz to do it. It's just a ratzon to do it. His chefetz is in the money. Okay. Okay. So that's the pnimius is the chefzo, and the ishtadlus to do it is not a chefzo a pnimi. It's just the chitzonius in order to come to the pnimius the ratzon, which is the profits. For example. Ratzon Adam lasod mishteh b'simcha le'ovav. A person wants to make a big mishteh, big party for the people that he really likes. That's his main desire. Af al pi she'efshar shelo yikra gam lazarim. He still has to call other people that are not his true friends, and he should actually want them to be there also. Ki b'mishteh b'simcha rotzeh shakol yochlu v'yismachu. Because you're making a big party, he wants everyone to eat. Nonetheless, but these people that are just coming, it's not his true desire, but he's making a party, so he has to invite everyone also, right? They're just the chitzonius desire and the secondary. This is the acharayim of the ratzon, which means, therefore, we see you have a panim and achor in the ratzon. And this is the rule, that the panim of the ratzon, sham nimshach v'nishpa or v'chayot b'chidet pnimius. Over there comes the light and the life force, in a very pnimius way. Because you desire that thing in an inward way. But this that you don't want in a pnimius way, but rather you want it in more of a chitzonius way. The life force and the shefa only gets there in a backhanded way, because you have to also do it. It's like you're making a big party. Okay, you have to invite everyone of the town, even though you're only friends with these people, but everyone has to come anyway. So they're getting the shefa backhandedly, and then the people that you really have a desire for, they're getting the shefa panim al panim. Okay? Uvan zel der mashal, for example, a king that wants to make a big suda and a mishteh for all of his ministers and all of his servants. So what does he do? He takes out tons of money from his treasures on the mishteh. And for sure the kavana and his inner desire in putting out all the money was only for the big ministers and the important servants. That they should eat, they should drink, they should get drunk. There's a different girsa that says they shall be satisfied. Okay. The girsa, okay. And they should take pleasure from all of the food on the table of the king, and all these different good foods. So therefore, people are going to hear about the meal, and everyone's going to come. The king he's not going to kick these guys out, right? Like the Avadim and the Shvachot, the maidservants, the small ones, Shacharei Harachayim, that are behind the millstone, so to speak. That they're going to eat from the leftovers of the Seudah, of the important ministers, and they're also going to take some home. Don't worry. It came with bags, okay?
Piggy bags.
כמו העצמות שמשליכים למטה, שאוכלים הכלבים, like this. Or also another example is the bones that you throw to the dogs, okay? Is it muktzah? Is it muktzah,
Yes.
guys? Depends if you're in Ramat Beit Shemesh Aleph or not.
Yes, so if you are, then it's not muktzah.
If you're in Ramat Beit Shemesh Aleph, there's a lot of dogs there. If dogs
But
eat
not
it,
in
you're
Bet.
okay. If in Bet there's no dogs, can't do it.
Mishkafayim? No.
Mishkafayim, I don't know. Never been there. הרי אי אפשר לומר שהייתה כוונה הפיזור הגדול הזה בשביל השיריים. So the king didn't put out all this money so that the little servants could eat also. He didn't have that intention at all, and the dogs should eat at all. אלא בוודאי לא כיוון המלך להוציא בשבילם אפילו פרוטה אחת. The king didn't even have an intention to give him one pruta. They just got because they just came to the party. That everyone else, that was important. It was for them, but it happens to be that he put so much for them that some spilled over, and all these other people got. Now, only once he put out all the money with a strong desire and chefetz pinimi, an inner desire for the seuda of the great important ministers. Therefore, the chitzonius, which are the shirayim, also went to the avadim maktani, the small servants. And this is the hashpa that comes in a chitzonius way, in a way derech agav, that it just happened to happen, in a way of shaddai batar katfaya, you're throwing behind your shoulders. Okay, so now what does it have to do with what we said before about Paro leaving Mitzrayim, being pregnated, all these things, okay? The explanation, this nimshal will be understood in the higher realms, that the pnimius of the ratzon, of Hashem's ratzon, and in the Hashem's essence of His light, Hu meir leIsrael dafka. Hashem's pnimius ratzon is that He should shine to the Jewish people. It says Ya'er Hashem panav elecha, panav dafka, and it's called v'nikra b'chinat panim de arich anpin. This is the panim of arich anpin, as the Zohar says in places. Kollel michze v'trein tapuchin. It includes the forehead and the two eyes, two apples. It says, okay. Hayinu al yedei b'chinat hamshachot b'chinat ratzon elyon meir b'tor mitzvah dafka, and this is through the ratzon elyon that's shining into the Torah mitzvah specifically. The whole main part of the chokhmah of Torah came from Hashem's pnimius ratzon. That's Hashem's true desire. That all concepts of chokhmah that's in the Torah is hitchakmut ech shiyeh b'chinat hamshachot atzmus orein sof baruch hu. What is the Torah? As the wisdom on how to draw down the essence of the Ein Sof, which is the Indian of Sovev Aklali, from concealment to revelation in the worlds. How do you arouse the drawing down of the Or Ein Sof? That's the Torah. It's the wisdom of how to draw down the Or Ein Sof. This that Hashem made a gzera of His wisdom in the Chokhmah, within the Torah, like we have the 248 positive mitzvahs, that through them we'll have a revelation of the Or Ein Sof down here. And it says that the 248 mitzvahs aseh represent the 248 hamshachas of the Or Ein Sof, to shine the light in the vessels, in different types of vessels. For example, through tefillin, there's going to be an Or Ein Sof in the four moichin, in the four parts of your brain, chokhmah and chesed and gvura, in the four parshas of the tefillin. Another example is tzitzis. There'll be revelation of the Or Ein Sof in the 32 pathways of chokhmah. That's the makif of the talit. In the mitzvah of tzedakah, there'll be an Or Ein Sof in the level of chesed, and similarly in all mitzvahs. Like in Sukkah, you have the makifim of Ima. In the Etrog, it's in Malchus, etc. Kol zeh hu rak al pi chokhmah shebatorah. The reason why this is the case is because through the wisdom of the Torah that made a gzera, that it says you should make a sukkah, you should make tefillin, you should make an etrog in that specific way, and through that you're going to have the revelation of the Or Ein Sof Velo al yedei ofen acher zoto, not through any other way besides that specific thing. Kmo ken gzera chok shbetorah ofanim pratiim shesefer shasa lo taseh. So too, if you look at the negative mitzvahs, 365 negative mitzvahs, that we have many details that withhold you, and they withhold there to be in order for the revelation of the Or Ein Sof to come about. You have to push away the things that are going to withhold the revelation of the Or Ein Sof from all sides. And vahu afanim pratiim shur mitzvah lo taseh, all the details of the lo taseh. Like, for example, don't wear shatnez, because if you wear shatnez, it'll cause a histalkus of the gilui of the Or Ein Sof, for example. Or shelo yimshach or elokim makom ha-snoi shenikra to'avat Hashem. Or one thing is you want to stop things that will block the Or Ein Sof from coming down, or you don't want the Or Ein Sof to go into a place where Hashem hates, which is the to'eva of Hashem. The how do you say tova in English? Abomination of Hashem, yeah. Ki lo yigru charaktiv. A person has to separate himself from usher things that are connected to the hands of the chitzonim, that don't have an elevation above. That's why the word usher, as everyone knows, it means that it's bound up. Mutar means that it's untied. So that means something usher, you cannot bring it, you cannot elevate it. Ki lo yishkon bahem or loki, the godly light will not dwell in those things. As it says, ukvodi la'acher lo eten. Im ken, if that's the case, I remove an al kol panim sheikar inin achochma shebatorah hu rak lehit chakem ech sheyeh bechinet gilu or ein sof lamata. So the main concept of what Torah is understanding how the Ein Sof should be revealed down here, and through the mitzvahs that are called the 248 limbs of the king, and to stop everything that'll hold off the Or Ein Sof, which is the 365 lo taseh. And this is, all that together is the pnimius, the ratzon of the emanator, Hashem himself, in general, in order for him to have a dwelling place in this world through the fulfillment of the mitzvahs. And in each mitzvah you have a specific ray of light from the general ratzon of Hashem that's going into it. That's why when you're doing a mitzvah, you have to have intention, the general one and the specific one, for these two reasons. So this is the general desire of the inner will. Okay, hu b'chinat pnimiyut ratzon elim bichlal is the inner desire of Hashem's will. And that is called the panim of Arich Anpin, the face of Arich Anpin. Al yedei amar, according to this it says, Ya'er Hashem panav alecha leYisrael, for the Jewish people specifically that fulfill the mitzvahs, and this is the pnimius of the Ratzon Elyon, that's in order for there to be a revelation of the Or Ein Sof down here. Kasher kvar nimshach pnimius of Ratzon Yisrael. Alidei Torah mitzvahs kanal. So now what happens is, when we're doing Torah mitzvahs, everyone's doing a good job, we're all keeping the mitzvahs properly. What happens is that there's drawn down also the achoraim and the chitzonius of the Ratzon Elyon, which is called the oref, the back of the neck, to the umat olam, to the nations of the world. Okay, God's making a big party. Who are the great ministers? The Jews keeping the Torah mitzvahs. Okay, now God's making a party for us. What happens is, all the nations show up at the party. And they get all the good stuff right now, because God made us a party. Sketch, they weren't invited.
When you were just saying,
okay.
Not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, let's see. Do you want to leave Egypt? Do you want to stay in Egypt? 80% wanted to stay in Egypt. It was a good life there. You got free cucumbers.
God gets his enjoyment.
Here they're very expensive in Israel, you know. What do you say?
God gets his enjoyment from us doing the mitzvahs.
Yeah, we're the important ministers. Yeah.
So there are other people. What about, we're not doing the mitzvahs? What do you want from
us? Right. Yeah. Also that. I mean, we had this child as a tinok shnishpa, considered shogeg or amazing, right?
So
that's the question. If you consider, also there's different shilas on who could be counted in a minyan. There is an opinion that says if a man married a goya, can't be counted in a minyan because everyone knows you're not allowed doing that. But I asked the Rabbi Ru, and he said it's not so simple. He said there are different days on it. And then there's different things, So, so now the nations show up. Okay, that the source of the nations are from the 70 ministers above in the worlds of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiyah. They received their shefa from the Chitzonis and the Choraim. Okay, there's different footnotes. Look up each thing. Okay, we're discussing that thing at length. Okay, now Al Ken Nikra Lukim Acharim. They're called other gods. Okay, because the ministers still recognize that Hashem is the God of gods, which is called Shituf, and Shituf is a machlokes if a goy is allowed to believe in Shituf. That's what your wife asked me a question about that the other day with the person in the school there. They have to go to the church for learning, so that has depend upon this machlokes if a goy is allowed to believe in Shituf. So they're doing Shituf. Okay, so this concept. They receive only in a way of derech agav, backhandedly. The king's making the party for the ministers. They happen to be on the outer tables, and they're getting the good stuff now. Okay, so now like the Mishnah of the Sarim, that since the shefa goes to who is not worthy, that goes to who is worthy, which is the Pnimius Ratzon. Therefore, even the one who is not worthy will also get from the Shiraim and Derech Agav. They'll get the leftovers. Gam shelo haya kavana limklal. There was no intention for them to get anything at all. Kach mekablim gam chitzonim yenika. So too, when this happens, is the chitzonim, meaning the other side, gets a yenika, and the life force that shines from the godly light. In a way of shiraim and chitzonius of the Ratzon Elyon, and this is the orif to the panim elyonim. Lachar shekvar nimshach ora shefa hapnimius mipnimius Ratzon Elyon. So since the or and the shefa are coming from the inner part of Hashem's will to the side of kedusha, through the hamshacha of the orot and the kelim, through the mitzvahs, that's what it means. Ya'er Hashem panav alecha. Therefore, that the hashpa to the chitzonim is only in a way of achoraim, shebeketer, it's the backside of the keter, and this is like throwing it over your shoulder in a way of derech agav, in a secondary way, in a moment to bring the shafa, shemashpil b'chinat pnimis, b'chinat panim, ve'en b'hashpa'a l'chitzonim, b'chinat oref, shum hara b'pnimis, Pinimius, what's an el kal v'kal. I'm going to explain in a second. Alken ena mekablin rak minachit hatam tzit v'shmarim anoflim. So they don't get from the pinimius of the pinimius. They just get from whatever is kind of left over and gets thrown to them.
Question.
As is known. Let me just finish. Yeah. What did you say? Yeah.
When Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hakadosh Baruch Hu, "Hayinu bodecha."
Yeah.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu, he said to him,
Vodecha. It's different. The Ratzon is different.
He told him, "Go out soon. I'll show you my back."
Lo yani adam b'chai.
So why he showed him the back, and now we learn the back is a arif where yeniku.
You can't make. That's not a proper gezer shava. They're two different things. In Tanya, in Igeres Kodesh, chapter 19, it discusses the madrega of what Moshe got the nevuah from. That was the flow of the nevuah. This is the ratzon that's shining out of the shefa of how Hashem gives based on the Torah mitzvahs. It wasn't like a prophecy necessarily. That was like he wanted to go to a high level prophecy.
So
it's different. It's different. That was a.
Isn't it more obvious with that being in the front than from the back?
It's different. It's a different Indian. It's a different Indian though. Yeah, also. Tzarich Iyun, it's a sugya, but it's different than this. It's a different thing. Want to see the previous, the way, but also kavod, there's different levels of kavod that gets revealed different olamot. Like in Purim, it says they got a kavod, but it was 2 levels down. There's a Maimon in Torah, or it talks about it was the level of kavod in Yitzira, and Moshe got the level of Atzilus, Tamislavish, and Bria. It's like different madrigas that came about. But okay, so now, so the chitzonim only receive the leftovers. Whatever falls away, like you have a plate of steak, a piece falls down, you give it to them, and then they're happy they have their steak. Okay, Dafka lachar shenitorer shafa b'chinas pnimis l'sitra kedusha. So specifically now the shefa was aroused to give to the panim in the kedusha. Azay gamim mekablim b'chinas tamsi. They get a taste of it as well. Aval kashe'ein imshach b'chinas panim. This is kedusha b'chinas gili. But when there is no revelation of the panim and the ratzon to the side of kedusha in a revealed way, azayin lahem inika kal. They don't have any inika at all. Come on, beyichud pnimi de abba ve'ima ve'zun be mida de shin ayin. Okay, it's like I'll skip these parentheses or whatever. Okay. Mavarot Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol was in the Heichal Kodesh Kodashim. There was Kumoken B'chol Aliyot Olamot. Every Shabbat in Yom Kippur and Ne'ilah. Okay, it's different thing. Okay, and basically there's certain examples where there's basically a yichud to the side of kedusha, but it was behelim. So when it's behelim, then since it's behelim, therefore the chitzoni can't get anything of it. For example, one of the examples it brings is Ne'ilah, because Ne'ilah is a yichud is a revelation of the yechida, and the yechida it says there's nothing against the yechida. So when the Kohen Gadol goes in the Kodesh Kodashim, so it's a basically ha'ara of the ratzon to the panim, but in a way that it's behelim. So there's no unika to the chitzoni. But when it's revealed to the side of kedusha, then automatically you have a unika. Okay, and this unika is bad. Okay, we're gonna see. It's not good. It's not good. That's why you have to. We're gonna say. Okay, what is it?
We give the chitzonim zil as a zel. That's the.
Yeah. It could be that's the explanation. Yeah, let's see. It discusses about it on a previous page here. Okay, this is what it means. Shamamit be'adayim titapash vehi be'echel melech. Pirush. Okay, shamamit is a gecko. It's like a lizard or something. It's like that car company, you know, the gecko.
The insurance.
Shamamit. Okay, the gecko you will catch in your hand, but it's in the palace of the king. What does that mean? This is it gecko? How do you say it?
Yeah,
gecko. That's what it is. Yeah, it comes from this thing. Gecko? That's probably not pronounced. So this shamamit leotzim pchitut archa ma'od. Since it's very small, it doesn't take up any space in the palace of the king. V'gam shehi beyadayim titapash be'echel melech he holechet al shulchano. Even if you catch it in your hands, it goes on his table. You will not feel. The king will not feel anything of it, as if it doesn't exist, because it's so small in relation to the big palace. So to all the unika of the 70 ministers, from the psolit of the onega elyon that falls down here, that falls through the oref, the back of the neck, so to speak, is like a bechina of the gecko in the palace of the king, that as if it doesn't exist, and the king doesn't feel it at all. Therefore, the sages say, hen gvurotav goyim meragdim be'echalo v'hu shotek. It says these are Hashem's gvuras, that the goyim could dance in his palace, but he is quiet. Okay, Gam Zeo Shamur Razal. Rabbi Akiva Shachak V'Amar Im LeOvrei Retzono. So Rabbi Akiva laughed and said, if this is what's going on to the people going against Hashem's will, that they get from the tamtzis of the Acharim of the Ratzon, and they get such good stuff, okay? Le'osen Ratzono. So the ones that do His will, that it shines to them in a pnimius Ratzon, all the more so. Agav, you can't compare the chitzonius ratzon that comes in a backhanded way to the pnimius ratzon, as we understood on these mashalim. Okay, now just to bear in mind, these specific mashalim brought down in this concept is basically a certain panim of understanding what's going on. Meaning, there's other stuff going on too. Okay, one of the things we spoke about one time was that sometimes the shefa the goyim are getting, even though it's such a big shefa, but it doesn't have the or panim in it, which means that it's lacking the or of kedusha inside of it. So when a Jew has something, then it has the Or Kedusha inside of it. So even maybe it looks less, but it's really more. Like there's different bechidas, but the mashal is brought in relation to what we're going to explain now, in relation to Paro. Okay, so now, Mikol Ze Yuvan Shorsh Inin Paro Melech Mitzrayim. So now we can understand what Paro is, the king of Egypt. Shlekach Nikra Paro. Paro comes